Hello, everyone. So, on the heels of my recent episode of Voices in the Arcade, which, if you haven't heard yet, feel free to go and listen to. It is the new podcast for Astral Arcade members only. And our first topic was that of Synastry. So, I can talk a lot about Synastry. I can talk about the criteria that we need to have in mind when we're thinking about charts and relationships, but it's easier to look with examples for sure. So, I wanted to kind of sit and do that a little bit. So we're going to go through two examples. The first one is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And yeah, it's not a romantic relationship so far as we know, but they work together really successfully. So it's interesting to think about their relationship and what exactly could have been brought to the table by their astrology and why that was such a kind of successful endeavor, right, on their part. So, okay, first off, looking at what's here, we see that Matt Damon has Aquarius rising, Sun in Libra, and Moon in Capricorn. We see that Ben Affleck has Cancer rising, Sun in Leo, and Moon in Scorpio. And so, well, thinking about right off the bat, what's going on here? There's this kind of interesting dance between those three placements, right? And so I'm modeling this just like to help you think about something really basic with synastry. We don't need to jump into the whole entire chart first, just what's the relationship between your sun, moon, rising and your partners, and see if there's something there. So we see that, for example, there is a lot of interesting synastry here. The ascendant, Matt Damon's ascendant, and Ben Affleck's sun are in opposing signs, Leo and Aquarius. And so that speaks to a collaborative, back and forth, maybe argumentative relationship between two people where they learn how to share space together and find some common ground. So working with someone on a film project certainly feels like that. We also see that Ben's sun is squaring Matt's moon. And that is because they are both in cardinal signs, Capricorn and Libra. And so from the sun to the moon, these two core components of their identities, we have this combustive, productive, and fertile energy. The sun, Ben maybe shining a light on Matt Damon's interior ideas for art and for his values and stuff like that. So there is a kind of fertile, thing going on here between these two humans. So when we are done examining the sun, moon, and rising, we can understand then that there are other things in the chart worth checking out. So sticking with the sun and the moon, let's just kind of let our eye move around the chart and see what we see here. And so the first thing I notice is this, bam, there is a relationship between Ben and Matt's sun and Uranus. So Matt Damon's sun is exactly conjunct with Ben Affleck's Uranus. This is just very funny to me. So this is kind of like, the eccentric planet of progress and innovation. There's something about the connection between these two people that sparks something new and sparks something kind of exciting, right? So Sun-Uranus conjunction could be you letting your partner share their weirdest, most bold ideas and really shining a light on that and supporting them in that process. So that's just very cute. Good job, everyone. Regarding lunar correspondences, we see, let's see what's going on here. Matt Damon's moon is conjunct Ben Affleck's north node. And so lunar connection to the north node is literally like, you are the person showing up here to nurture this person's path forward. And so I'm not like big on celebrity, like gossip and life, but I do know that these two guys were friends and, in Good Will Hunting, like made this movie about Boston and whatever. It was cathartic, it seems, for both of them. And it was their breakout kind of experience as actors. And so thinking about that, the moon north node conjunction, the moon being something that talks about like the masses and being known by the population, can talk about fame. That's something that is here pulling Ben Affleck's north node into alignment by this kind of conjunction. So isn't that cool? I think that's very interesting. Another thing we can see here is that Matt Damon's south node is conjunct Ben Affleck's Mars. And so there is this, again, nodal connection between these two people. Maybe they met in a past life. Maybe they were argumentative in a past life with Mars and Virgo. And they're here to kind of work out those differences and really learn how to communicate properly. And so this is just one chart example, but this is what I want you to practice, if you feel like it, with your chart and your partner's chart, simply observing. This is all that synastry is. It's the art of observation. So don't feel like you have to have all pieces of the puzzle memorized when you sit down with two people's charts. You really just want to see where the charts are touching each other. And so again, we've got another connection here. Matt Damon's Mercury is conjunct Ben Affleck's Pluto. So just another kind of point of activation, his Mercury helping Ben feel like he can use his power, right? Unlock his authority. And I think that Pluto has a role in Hollywood in lots of ways, which is definitely not my expertise, but an interesting topic to think about. Okay, cool. So that is our first example, and I'm going to pop us over into our second example in just a minute. All right, my dears. So here's our second example, slightly less silly, more tragic than the first, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. And so, with our tools in mind, we see that Courtney's chart is the outer ring, which I should have said before for the other example, and Kurt's chart is this interior one. His chart is so interesting if you ever feel like doing a case study on just the Pisces energy that's here. Very fascinating. So let's think about what's here. Kurt is a Pisces sun, Cancer moon, and Virgo rising. Courtney is Libra rising, Cancer sun, and Cancer moon. Okay, and so holding all that info in our minds, we know a couple of things. Number one, there is a conjunction and alignment between their sun and moons, both of them sharing a moon sign placement. So that's what I was talking about earlier. When we have a moon sign kind of connection, there is this really intense feeling like somebody. It's a familiarity. The moon is so much about nurture and safety. You meet somebody who has the same moon sign as you, you're like, oh yeah, I know you. Right? So that can draw you in. Courtney's sun conjunct Kurt's moon can be another sign here saying, I want to shine a light on your heart. I want to shine a light on what you need and how you love. And so that was part of their project together. We also can see that their suns are trine by sign because he's a Pisces sun, which is a water sign, and she's a Cancer sun, which is a water sign. So another place of overlap, very easy to connect and easy to meet one another, right? And so other things, just again, playing that game, letting your eye move around the chart, looking for numbers that are the same between inner and outer rings. The first thing I land on is this crazy Chiron conjunct Kurt's Mercury from Courtney, right? So they both have a point at 18 degrees Cancer, her Chiron on his Mercury. Chiron being that wounded healer, again, I often struggle with astrology that focuses on celebrity charts because we're just assuming things about these people's relationships, and I don't feel super cool doing that. I've never really cared for celebrity culture, which I know sounds like holier than thou, but it's just true. So sorry. But from what I do know, because I like both of their music, is that this relationship was extremely obviously tumultuous. But I think that there was something magnetic, and let each of them express something important through their art. And whether or not that stayed healthy is kind of up to them. And we can guess that perhaps it didn't because things became contentious and eventually poor Kurt, right, took his life. So this is just an interesting sort of place of engagement, saying that perhaps Courtney was here to activate some kind of wounding for him around communication, how he thinks, how he talks, how he presents himself, even how he performs, right? So this is all very interesting to me. And that looks like the tightest conjunction. Her Saturn is also on his sun. Saturn in Synastry talks about commitment. And it says that people are going to want to commit to one another when there is a Saturn marker. It can also be a relationship that feels kind of heavy, and that you two are working through being responsible, being mature, taking initiative, and like being stable together. And so I'm not really sure if that was achieved, but there is something about heaviness in this partnership between the two of them. So it's very interesting to me. Another thing I see here is that Courtney's Mars is conjunct his midheaven, saying that, this person activates you, pulls you out into the world, and pulls you out into that path of being known for something profound. Her Venus is also here on his midheaven, signifying a love connection. And again, wanting to move from a place of generosity, giving, and nurture to help this person, the midheaven person, be seen. Courtney's moon is conjunct his sun. So there's so much connection between these two people, and that's not surprising because their story is so ridiculously over the top and larger than life. Moon conjunct his sun, saying something about either he makes her emotions feel magnified, or she, again, maybe, does the same thing for him. That's the exchange that's here between Jupiter and the moon. Right. So from these observations, we can kind of formulate a picture. And so I also want to say, just like with chart analysis, in Synastry, there is no right or wrong. There is no this equals this. There is no bad relationship component necessarily, unless someone's actually really actively toxic, abusive, or inappropriate. We can work through difficult synastry with people that we love. We just need to be aware of it and know that it's there as part of the alchemy between us. And so this is what is here. So I hope this is helpful, and I am very curious to hear your thoughts, if any spark. And thank you for watching. And yeah, this is super fun. Okay, till next time, I'll talk to you later. See you on the internet.